Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Saturday Zoom.
Good morning,
I hope this
everyone.
is the beginning because I was just talking about something in my teeth. So I hope you didn't hear that, but now I've said it. Now it doesn't really matter, does it? That's just silly. Anyway, how's everybody doing?
Good. How are you doing this morning?
I'm up.
You're up.
I'm
Awesome.
up and ready to chat and have other people chat and talk about the talk.
Okay.
What's in your diffuser?
Oh my gosh, I forgot to turn it on.
Put it on.
Always. Well, don't do it right now. We'll wait. I just chose Citrus Fresh today. I put it in my Aria in the other room, and then I came in here to figure out what I wanted to put in this one. And I was like, I'm just gonna go with Citrus Fresh today because it's very uplifting. It's very spring-like, energizing, and makes me feel good. So that's what's going. I think my nose is not working though. I don't smell it too much today. What are you looking for, Kath?
Kid scent. Kid power.
I debated putting kid scents in too. I was thinking about that, but I went with the Citrus Fresh. Mary, you got anything going today?
I forgot to turn mine on too, and I'm just gonna wait because my leg hurts.
I put kid power in. Maybe I need a little kid power today.
I love that one. That
Oh,
orange
it smells so good.
vanilla creamsicle flavor. I love it.
Yeah. Reminds me of the ice cream man when I was little, running out there. Wait, you know.
Good
What
time.
can you do?
I think it was my mom's favorite ice cream bar. I liked it too. Okay, well, we may have made a mistake because we've been talking about ways to love yourself since what, February 13th, something like that. And every week we pick a different topic, and the topics that were left over, I didn't think we would find that much information. So I said, let's put them all together. Let's just do them all at once. And we have our largest amount of information that we found to date, but we are, to be fair, talking about 5 different topics, 5 different areas of loving yourself within this. So we're going to cover professional or career, and the next one is personal, which I'm not quite sure about personal. So we're going to talk about balance and fun in that one. There wasn't a whole lot, so I don't know who made that category. I mean, it wasn't us. We pulled it from somebody else. Then creative health. And Mary, you're going to talk about this one today. All by yourself. No, I'm kidding.
I love to create.
Mary hangs up. And financial health. A lot there that can affect your health. And I think a lot of that is common sense, as we will see. And then finally, intellectual health, which I took it as just like taking care of your brain. So a lot to talk about. And last week's Zoom went really well with people talking about their stories, and that's what I envision this to be, is that we present a topic, but all of you get in and talk with us, share with us. So if you're watching on Facebook right now, I'm going to pull it up on my iPad. So if you have a comment or something to say, a question, go ahead and type it in the comments. If you are watching on a replay later on, you can do the same. Put it in the comments, or leave a comment on Linda Loves Lab, wherever you're watching this from, because we like to continue the conversation, and also gives us some ideas for what to conquer next, because this is our last Loving Yourself week, and we're going to go on to something else. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy to start with the professional and career.
Okay, so loving yourself with professional and career. We all need to achieve or try to achieve somewhat of a work-life balance. And if you can get to that point, or if you can achieve that, then you're going to be happier at both. You're going to be happier personally at home with your family and whatever you do on your own time, as well as you will probably be more productive at work if things are going well for you at home and you feel that sense of calmness. So with that being said, I have my notes here in front of me, like I said, because we had so much stuff on here that I wanted to break it down into smaller little bits. So if you're having trouble to find that balance, okay, that's because maybe, you might be working long hours and you don't have that personal time that you need. People are having that difficulty finding that balance because two people are, they have two income households, where both parents are working or both people are working. And so when they get home, they don't have as much time for other things. And if they don't, they have to try to, share the responsibilities at home, along with, modern technology has really affected this as well, because you're carrying your cell phone all the time. So if you have, I don't want to say a more important job, but a higher level job, you're tied to that phone. And so now your work hours get extended. Even if you're not at work, you're going to be at home and you're going to get that call. You might be out to dinner and you're going to, oh, I got to take this. So that distracts from everything you want to do to make your family or make your spouse or your friends feel like they're important to you.
Not to mention working from home. So there's two facets of that, just like you're carrying around your cell phone, like you said, but a lot of people bring their work home. And where do you cut that off? As a teacher, I know that. The last 10 years of my teaching career, I was a specialist and I didn't have to bring a whole lot home. I didn't have to do a lot at home because I could manage it at work. But a classroom teacher, I got to tell you, they are working all the time, and they come home, see their kids, maybe they make the dinner, and then after that they go back to their work. So it's that's, when do you cut it off? And then of course everybody's working from home, and so do you have guidelines and boundaries there for when you're at work and when you're at home? Because you're always at home, but you've got to make time for those people. So sorry, I just want to interject.
No, that was great. I love that. And also, people are working more, because of their financial demands, so they feel like they have to be at work because they may have medical bills to pay. They have to pay for their house if they have children, and they have daycare things that they have to pay for. So there's a lot of things that, influence your work hours and extending them. I know when I had my children at home, I had someone come to the house to watch my kids. So I was working those hours and I couldn't wait to get out to get home to them. But, we balanced it in that way. My husband was going to school full time, working full time plus. So I was the person at home even after work. So I felt on the go from the time I got up till the time I put the kids to bed at night, because he was in school 3 nights a week. I went to school 1 night a week. So we technically didn't see each other from Sunday evening till Friday when we both got home from work. So that was pretty difficult doing that. But the benefits of having that work-life balance, it can improve your health. It does improve your health because now you're less stressed, so there's less inflammation in your body. Working long hours will increase your risks of so many different diseases, such as cardiovascular disease, stress, chronic fatigue, depression, anxiety. You'll have sleep issues because you're worrying about what the next day is going to bring. I know that happened to me quite a bit. You can, there's chances of becoming diabetic, abusing alcohol, smoking too much, and sometimes even injury, occasional injury, depending on what your job is, could increase hypertension, and it can also increase obesity, depending on if your job is a sedentary job, that you're sitting for long periods of time and you're not up and moving around.
And eating the whole time.
Yeah, well, you are so funny. So it does depend on, what your job is.
I dropped a nut.
I'm just moving right along here. So some of the things that, let's see, it's also important for your personal relationships to have that work-life balance, because then you can spend quality time with your kids, your spouse, your other family members, your friends, and spending that time with them will help build those relationships, especially in your immediate family. It'll strengthen those relationships that your family, your kids will carry on for many years to come, and they'll be that way as well. And also working or having that good balance can help boost your self-esteem. So if you're feeling happy about your home life and your personal life, you're going to be a happier person at work. If you're more negative about your work life, it could eventually roll over into your family life as well.
I remember teaching where I would get so frustrated with the kids, but you've got to keep control when you're working with somebody else's kids. And I remember I would get home and my own kids would do something relatively minor and I would snap at them because it was a frustration of, of the whole day. So yeah, finding that balance and realizing I was doing that to try to like knock it off and say, no, this is not what I need to be doing when I come home to my own kids.
Right. And so there's some things to help you, some hacks to help with work life is, and your home work and home life balance is, pencil things in, make time for specific things at home. You know what your work hours are, let's say 9 to 5. And when you come home, if you're doing things with your family, that's very important to you. So creating a list of things that's really important to you might help. And try to, I don't want to say stick to that list, but try to make time for those things throughout, the week or however you want to do it. If you are both working and you can, you don't want to spend time maybe cleaning the house or, cutting the grass or whatever, you can always outsource those things. You could get somebody to come in to clean once a week. You could get someone to cut your grass however often you need that to be done. But the main thing is to prioritize what's important to you and your family, and then to take time for yourself to do those things that you really want to do. It's not always going to be a perfect balance. So you have to kind of embrace the imbalance as well and just kind of go with the flow on certain things that you might not have control over. So I know, Linda, you had talked about some other things with working in a healthy environment too.
Yeah, I was looking at some scientific data research that I found, and there was some correlation between health and your job, your career, and it was pretty interesting. And it kind of goes both ways. Just as we talked about your work-life balance, one can affect the other. Work can affect home, home can affect work. This talked about a couple of different things. First is, if you're in poor health to begin with, those people who already have health issues typically don't get the best jobs. They usually are not given the highest paying jobs. They're doing things that other people don't want to do. And conversely, a lot of times those types of jobs have an effect, an external effect on health. And let's see, and so some of those jobs also you have to think about the work conditions. So if you're working a job that has any element of danger to it, whether you're in a factory, you're exposed to chemicals. I mean, think about all of the coal miners and the different lawsuits that are coming up because of those work conditions and what they're doing. Those health harming exposures at work can create havoc for you. They talk about unemployment having an effect on people, of course, and that you would imagine it would be so because of the stress. If you have a job and then you suddenly don't have a job, that's going to cause stress, and stress is one of the major contributors to poor health. Let's see, I'm just going, there's pages and pages of things here, so I'm going through it.
While you're going through that, I'll tell a little thing. My dad worked in
Oh,
a
yes,
factory.
please.
Yeah, my dad worked in a factory for a number of years, and he was a smoker for a number of years as well. But he had quit smoking long before this happened to him. He, like I said, worked in a factory in Chulandai, and he had to clean out this, they called it a water tank or a water bath for different things that they were making or doing for the steel and all. And so he drained that and cleaned it out, and he ended up with bacterial pneumonia. And that was the only thing that he had done different that he hadn't done in the past, was that. And because he, with his smoking, he had a touch of emphysema, and he just, quit cold turkey on smoking years before this happened. Well, that flared up with having the bacterial pneumonia. So then, he was doing fine, went back to work. And then a couple years later, the same thing happened, and he had told them at work about the issue with the water bath thing, and they think that's where he got it from. The doctors thought that, but they didn't do anything about it. After the second time of him getting a bacterial pneumonia, the same type as the first one, that's when they actually did something about it. They put in a venting system because, at that point, then my dad had to quit working. So he had to collect early and the whole thing. And in order to do so, they had to have legal representation to, for him to get paid. So, that's really important with some of these places nowadays. I think they're trying to be a little bit better at it with different work environments. And so they have certain policies and certain things to follow where they didn't have in place back when this happened to them.
And as a person in the workforce, you need to pay attention to your own health and share it with colleagues, because I know at my own school, and I don't know if any other correlation was ever found, but teachers were complaining of headaches a lot. There's always talk about cancer, how many teachers have gotten cancer over the years, or, even after retirement, they've discovered the cancer. And we've lost several teachers along the way. So just looking at that and correlating, like it may just be stress. It may just be a coincidence, but talk about those things. If you're having health issues at work and you notice them specifically happening at work and maybe subsiding once you get home, some symptoms, that's a conversation that you need to have with colleagues to see if anybody else having this too.
That brings up another point. Is one of my friends is a teacher, or she's retired now, but when she taught, anytime, she kept getting this respiratory stuff that she never had in her life. They had switched her from one room to a different room, and now she was having all these different respiratory things in this other part of the school. Well, after, being at the doctor so much, the doctor says, I wonder if there's some kind of mold or something in your classroom that's causing this. Well, okay, so she talked to the principal and whoever else had to come in, and they got a company to come in and test for mold, and lifted the ceiling tiles and everything, and found out there was some black mold in her ceiling there. So I'm surprised that a lot of the kids didn't, or maybe they did, I don't know. But she was having those issues because there was black mold in the ceiling.
Gotta just be aware, be aware. So I'm glad they found that.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately one of the main things about professional career and your health is finding the right job. You know, getting a job that fits with your skill set, your talents, your interests, your passion. And as they always say, you know, if you find the right job, you never work a day in your life because it's a pleasure to go to work.
Right.
And that's the kind of job you want. Not everybody is fortunate to get that, but I think
Or
it's,
have had it.
yeah. And it's something you have to strive for, because you know, if you feel like you're in a dead end job or that your job is affecting your health, you need to get out, but you probably can't quit cold turkey like that, because you're depending on that financially. And as we find out, we'll talk about a little bit later, that finances play a big part in your health. So I would say make plans, you know, get something in place. Maybe you're gonna put a couple dollars away every week for a while, give yourself a year or whatever it is. I don't know the parameters, of course, but make a plan to be able to leave that job. So get yourself in a position where, okay, I've got a safety net. So if I quit the job and I don't have something else to go to, I can live for a couple of months, you know, or whatever it is. But finding that job that fits with you will alleviate so much of the stress and the health issues. Which brings me to what makes the best place to work. And of course, we can't all have this. This is kind of a creme de la creme, I guess. One website answers this. It was a Forbes article. Excuse me. It is a place where employees love to work, where they love to work for, feel empowered to be themselves, and where they clearly understand their role, among other characteristics. Some of the common ones found in the awarded companies, and this was from the best places to work in 2021. Consistent communication amid the COVID-19 workplace, but I think communication is big anyway, right? Flexible working environments, work-life balance. That goes back what you said, Kath. Transparent senior leadership, good health benefits, and mission-driven company cultures. That mission-driven culture is one of the hallmarks of best places to work winners. Like, a lot of people have that. And I wanted to point out, like, Google. If you work for Google, the benefits are awesome. You know, they have bicycles and electric cars to get to staff meetings, gaming centers, organic gardens, eco-friendly furnishings, free food. Google says they want to make their employees' lives easier, and it's constantly searching for ways to improve the health, well-being, and morale of its Googlers. So I think the idea is, like, they are creating a perfect workplace where you can be yourself, and that if you're not worried about this, that, and the other thing, then you can free up your creativity, which is another topic we're talking about today, and be able to just do the work and probably get their best work from happy employees. So anyway, if you're not happy at work, make a plan, you know, so that you can be happy and that you can change your situation. And I know it's easier said than done, but it will improve your health big time.
Right. I agree.
So on to personal. And personal, we have just a little tiny smidgen, because I personally don't know what this category was about. I found it on another website and I went, oh, let's include that. But we've really hit all of the personal loving yourself ideas through all of these different categories. But one that we didn't think about, or that we haven't really talked about, is the idea of what we do for ourselves to make lives worth living, the fun. So Kathy, you did a little bit of work on that. We have this book, we both have it, called ULA, Find Balance. And this one's for women. They have an ULA for men as well. And I think they have another ULA one.
Yeah, they just have like a ULA Balance General for the 7 F's of love.
Right. There's a balance. And then there's this one. And I think there's one like a spiritual health kind of book. I'm not sure.
I don't have that
Sounds
one.
familiar. I don't have that one either. But so we looked at with the ULA guys, they came up with this mantra, I guess, for living. And they talk about 7 different areas. And we've talked about a lot of them already. Fitness, they're all F's. Fitness, finance, family, field, faith, friends, and fun. So we're going to talk a little bit about fun. You want to take off
Sure.
on that, Kath?
Sure. Fun is very unique to each person. So what's fun for me may not be fun for you. But fun does have positive psychological effects on your body, your mind, and your spirit. So whether you're unwinding with friends, laughing at a funny movie, taking time just to relax and do leisure activities can change, all these things can change your physical and mental state for the better. So what it does is it'll help to reduce that stress hormone, cortisol. It'll boost serotonin, which regulates your mood and your memory and your sleep, and reduces stress, mental strain, and physical strain. So you'll have more energy, you'll be more clear-headed, and you can have better concentration and focus. So this will leave a positive impact on your relationships with your family and your friends. What are some of the things that everybody here likes to do for fun? What do you enjoy doing? Linda, Mary?
I make time to spend with my husband every night. We watch TV. We binge watch or we watch a movie, but we spend the evening hours together doing that. And that's sort of typical. That's my typical life. So outside of that, I like to go to lunch or go shopping with a girlfriend. That's a big one. And then I get into creative mode, which I think I'll save that conversation for when we talk about creativity. But, I like to do creative things for myself. Sometimes I just like to get out of the house and go shopping all by myself. That alone time is good too.
Right.
But as far as I don't know, when you think about fun in terms of when you were a kid, what did you do for fun? What did you like, what kinds of things? I don't know that I have active fun. I do play on my phone. I play games on my phone all the time. I love doing that. I have a couple of brain games that I feel like are helping my brain health by trying to figure these out, even though some of them I can't. But I don't know that I have any I don't go out and play softball or, do physical things like that. I do. My exercise lately has been tap dancing. So that's fun for me, which I believe has to be correlated. If you're not having fun when you're exercising, then it becomes a chore. So anyway, that's some of the things.
Mary, what about you? Do you have any things that either in the past were a lot of fun or you're doing now that's a lot of fun?
Well, I was an avid country line dancer.
Wow.
I absolutely love country line.
I've never done that. We should go, Mary. I've never done that.
I would love to go when I'm down there with you guys.
Oh, I love country line.
Find a place and get your legs working.
Yeah.
Right now,
I'm terrible at it, but
I play cards now. I play cards virtually because of COVID. So Samba, I don't know if you ever heard of that. That's a interesting game.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
card game. No, it's a card game. I love to dance too, any kind of dancing. So the last time I danced, I wound up in the hospital.
Oh no.
Well, it was my rheumatoid. I danced the entire night at a wedding.
Oh my God.
And the next day I'm like, I was having a heart attack or something. It wasn't a heart attack, but I was in so much pain. But anyhow,
oh my gosh.
But it was worth it. I had a great time. It was a family wedding. And it was so much fun. And I love karaoke.
Oh, wow. I have a terrible voice, so I don't like karaoke.
I love
karaoke. Nobody ever wants to go. I would love to go to karaoke.
Well, I'll go with you, but you can do the singing and I'll sit in the seat and clap for you. How's that?
Sounds like we have a night planned, maybe a couple of nights planned.
There you go. Yes, I feel more comfortable going out now that I got both shots. So I'm still going to wear my lovely mask and all, but I feel more comfortable. I haven't been out in a year. I don't think any of us. So I've been playing virtual cards on online and Rummy Cube. So I love cards and games, board games and cards. I love to play.
Yeah, so we pretty much all lived through the days of come back in when the street lights turned on, right? Was that your curfew? Yeah, ours.
Oh yes, when those street lights came on, you gotta be home.
Yeah, and we loved playing all kinds of games outside, you know, whether it was girls and boys or just the girls, you know, with hopscotch and all that stuff, and you know, just bike riding and doing things outdoors as much as we could. And indoors, we did puzzles, played board games and things like that. As I got older, I became a cheerleader when I was in 9th grade. So that was more physical stuff. I loved to dance, even though I'm not a good dancer. I didn't care. I was moved to the music and whatever happened, happened, right? And now I really do enjoy doing things with my grandsons when I babysat for them full time. I would try to have them outside as much as possible, just kicking a ball around or throwing a football, letting them tackle me and things like that. Yeah, they're both boys. So, but I did get tackled quite a bit. They'd jump on me. And so I would just drop down to my knees and then fall over and they go, "We got you." So those things were fun. Now, when the boys come over to spend the night, we play poker with them. But you know, all with the chips and all, and they love it. They love it. It's relaxing, and it's relaxing for us. I don't know about for them, but it's relaxing for us. So we have fun with that. And the thing is, you know, I mean, you can have fun doing a number of different things, whether you travel or you're just spending some quiet time reading, if that really, you know, speaks to you in the way of, you know, that's fun for you, watching TV, a number of different things like that. We just don't have to go overboard crazy on it, you know, because you don't want to get hurt doing something ridiculous. So, you know, keep it within reason for whatever abilities you have. And then what's good too is if we share our fun with others, you know, to help maybe impact in a positive way for others. So whether it's going to, a friend of mine talked me into doing a hip hop dance class one time. What a joke. Her daughters went through dance for years. My daughters played softball, 1 year of dancing, and then everything else was softball and basketball and whatever. So they were more athletic in that way. Her daughters played some of those sports as well, but were more athletic with their dancing. And so she talked me into doing hip hop, and that was a lot of fun. And I did see my limitations in creative dancing, but that's okay. You know, I have other things, you know. I love doing crafts and well too. So now, Mary, you do a very nice craft that you had talked to us about that you are sharing with people in a positive way. Do you want to tell us?
Yeah, I make greeting cards. And I'm sending them to people that I don't even know who they are, you know, but someone will post, my mother's turning 90 and she'd love a lot of cards. So I'll send a birthday card to this person. You know, it's all made. I make them all. But I'll send a birthday card or, unfortunately, sympathy cards, you know. But I just love making them. And it's fun learning. I go to classes. I'm supposed to be at a class now, but I gave it up.
But
I
you
can
know,
watch it later.
what I think is really great is that you are making these so unique to the person that you're sending it to on a lot of different things. And they're one of a kind. And so you're making them happy in so many different ways that you've shared the card with them, you've sent it to them to make them feel special, but it's your time that you put into it too, that really, I think, makes that other person feel blessed and just happy, you know, and it's fun for you to do.
And it makes it so it has health benefits for you.
Right.
I think the important thing about fun is to make time for it, like, because there a couple of quotes. The chapter started with a quote: "As hard as it is and as tired as I am, I force myself to get dinner at least once a week with my girlfriends or have a sleepover. Otherwise, my life is just work." And that was from Jennifer Lawrence, the actress who was Hunger Games, right? Yeah. So yeah, you have to make that time. And unfortunately, a lot of us feel like that we're not allowed to have fun when we're adults, or that's the first thing that comes off the list when life gets tough, when actually it should be the very first thing that you do to kind of de-stress and, you know, sit back and think, all right, this too will pass, the craziness, the stress. Let me have a light moment. Let me do something for me. So it's really important that you do take that time to do something fun from time to time. So yeah. Which leads us into the creativity, the creative health, which, you know, who knew that was a thing? But it is. It says it's clear that creative expression is central to humanity, but what do we know about creativity and overall health? And there was a review that suggests that particular types of creativity are beneficial. So music engagement can decrease anxiety and calm neural activity. Visual arts therapy can be a refuge from the intense emotions associated with illness. Movement-based creative expression can relieve stress. Expressive writing can help one to process life events and can positively impact mental health. And so that was just from one study. And they encourage you to just go out and try something new. So try writing, drawing, taking photos. You know, everybody's got your camera on your phone. Most people do it at this point. And so do some photography. You know, it's kind of fun to capture something from a different angle or extreme close-up, and just have some fun with it. Prepare a meal and plate it like you're on a cooking show. I love doing that. I always have to take pictures of, and I don't do it all the time. My husband does a lot of the cooking, but sometimes, like, if I have something and I've been working all day and I want to plate it just nicely, and I'm going to take a picture of it. And I have fun doing that. Turn on your favorite tunes and dance. Host a craft night where people, you know, get a bunch of people together sharing. Arts for health interventions are accepted option for medical management of mental well-being and healthcare. I think this one came from the UK. Yes, they actually, their insurance pays for some of these types of health interventions where you are being creative. I know when my mother-in-law had a stroke, this was many years ago now, but one of her therapies was art therapy, and they got her painting. And we are lucky enough, we have a painting that was made by her. My brother-in-law has another one that was made by her, and they are beautiful. And it's just a great piece of her, but it was therapy for her to help her to, part of it was physical therapy and occupational therapy, learning how to maneuver and express herself in the painting. But creativity and the arts can do so much. And that's why we always yell about cuts in the education system for any kind of arts program, because they are integral to humanity and to health.
Exactly.
Let's see. Music, singing, and visual arts can all improve confidence and the quality of life with people who have had strokes or people living with Parkinson's. The British Lung Foundation supports singing groups for people with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, that's COPD. Reading the classics, maybe more helpful than a self-help book. Knitting has significant therapeutic effect. Listening to music, simply appreciating art can decrease anxiety and help you feel calm and happy. Drawing, writing, reading poetry. I think writing poetry, crafting, all of those can help lower stress, relax your muscles, reduce indigestion and inflammation, increase self-esteem and productivity. So lots of different ways that being creative or engaging in the arts can be beneficial to your health. They suggest going to art exhibits or museums, read literature that challenges you. I think that's going to be speaking back to your brain health as well. Reading more poetry, crafty, stitchery, sewing, knitting, crocheting, needlework, cross stitch, all of those things. Using your hands, like you doing pottery, and doing things that stretch your brain.
So that's your games that you're doing, word games and different things like that as well.
And another article mentioned how exercise can supercharge your creativity. So as we keep seeing, everything is interconnected. So how does creativity actually improve your health? We've heard a couple of things, but increases happiness, reduces dementia.
That's why I play all those games.
Yeah.
Also, all these brain games.
Yeah, it's connecting that right and left half of your brain too, with a lot of this as well. You know, the creativity, analytical.
It improves your mental health. It boosts your immune system, and it makes you smarter. So, let's see. I found a lot of repetitive information, so I'm just trying to pull through. Another creative pursuit that improves our cognition is play acting. So there was a study where older individuals were invited to be a part of like a theater group. And after 4 weeks, they exhibited better cognitive functioning, word recall, listening recall, and problem solving abilities. So be a theater major like me. Get involved with acting as soon as we can. Right now, it's so hard with social distancing. I know my daughter participates in a theater group that they have been doing online readings and just doing a Zoom reading of a play.
We have a theater group right just a couple miles away from where we live. And I remember that they used to pack the people in there, you know, for their plays and, you know, what they did. And they would advertise. I never got to go to one of them, but.
Yeah, theater is all the rage, man.
Yeah.
I got it right. Helps you to be a little bit crazy too. Writing seems to help manage chronic pain because they're able to release it through their writing. So, I mean, I'm not saying it cures it or makes it go away, but it can relieve some chronic pain. Music therapy. Let's see, a lot of this is repetitive. There's so much out there where you can find information. Dance is a big one. They talked about something called flow. And flow is when you get so involved with your creativity or whatever it is you're doing that the whole world kind of disappears and everything else goes away. And it says, let's see, it's when people become completely unconscious of self, lose track of time, and get totally absorbed in what they're doing. And while they're in the flow state, they are meeting challenges as they create. And every time they're successful, the reward center in the brain is activated and they get a little burst of dopamine. Sometimes they're not even aware of being happy, but the reward center and the dopamine are influencing them and driving them forward in their behavior. And when you get into that flow, it says that creative individuals tend to exhibit higher self-esteem, which predicts reports of engagement and healthy behaviors. And there's a whole correlation there. I think I missed, it's in financial health that we talk about that when you pay attention to some of those little details, you're healthier, because people who pay attention to the details, whether it's in finances or in your creativity, those are the people who tend to pay attention to those little things in your health as well. And so there's a correlation there. Let's see, most of this is repetitive. So combats depression. It can improve your physical health as well to help get you active, depending on what your creative outlet would be. And again, they just talk about really making time for it, making time to be creative in some way. I like to, I'm always working, and I feel like I get in the flow and I forget to eat. So I have to like bring things like trail mix, so I don't, forget to eat completely. But I like in my work, one of my creative outlets is creating the memes and different graphics like this one. Kathy gave me this quote last night, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to put this on a graphic so we can use it. And things like that. And this one was a very simple one because I just put the text on a background. But most of the things that you might see on my websites or, on my Facebook are things that I've created on Canva. And I love that outlet. That's like one of my favorite things to do. And I can get involved with that for hours and, be so happy and proud I created something. So find that time. I had another creative thing I was going to mention and it went right out of my head. Writing. My kids bought me Storyworks, which is it's a program where every week you get a new prompt to write about. And it's sort of an ancestry kind of thing. Like they want you to write your life history or
almost like doing a biography.
Yeah, but it's specific to different narratives. For like, one of them was, what was your dad like when you were a kid? Stuff like that, different prompts. And so I try to go in, I let life get in the way because I got this last May and I'm way behind. So now I'm going to have to do like 2 or 3 of them a week to catch up with the ones that I missed. But I love writing, and that's another creative, outlet for me, where I feel like it improves my vocabulary too, because I'm like, I need this word. And so I'll go off and search for it. And, but all of this is in play. Now, one study I showed said that, can you be happy and creative? And they said, well, it's kind of a mixed bag there, because highly creative people have extremely high standards, and they keep holding themselves to that higher standard. And if they don't make it, they get depressed. And I think of people like Beethoven, who like kind of, I think the history is that he kind of had a lot of mental issues because that creativity, he couldn't quite get to where he wanted to be some days. And then when he fell ill, it was even more difficult to meet those high standards he had for himself. So, but I don't think we all have to be at that genius level and strive for that. I think just do what makes you happy. All right, we got through that. There was a lot, but we're on finance now, right? Did you have anything else about creative, Kathy?
Nope.
Okay. So financial health and physical health are directly correlated. And they go hand in hand, right? So there is a big correlation between taking care of your finances and taking care of your health. People who do take care of their finances tend to have better health. And when you don't, or when your finances get the better of you, like those days where a bunch of bills keep coming in and unexpected expenses, and then you're like, how are we going to manage this? I have a friend who, her husband recently started a new job, and he lost his job, and she was worried about healthcare. And then her son broke his leg. So luckily he had started another job, had the healthcare, but then she said I know a couple of appliances broke and the dog got sick and they had to take him to the vet. So those are the kinds of things when they start to pile up that not only have an effect on your financial health, but they start to affect your physical health through anxiety and worry for the most part. Oh, and I copied this. I made it so tiny. Researchers have the opinion that with human psychology, how different individuals think about the future. Okay, so there's a correlation. So people who are likely to make sacrifices in the short term for their health, such as abstaining from eating an extra donut at breakfast or foregoing a lazy day on the couch, instead going on a hiking trip, are more likely to make the same type of short-term sacrifices for their future financial success. For example, investing disposable income into a 401k. So again, I think I said that before, that if you're detail oriented with your health and your finances, like you're going to be on the other end. Does that make sense? If you're detailed about your health, you're probably detailed about your finances. That's the correlation that they found. But you do need to get your finances in order, whatever that means for the short term and the long term. Finances the struggles can mess with your sleep. It causes stress in your body. And so you have to find strategies that pay off both financially and for your health. So sometimes you can just make little tweaks, like maybe you stop going to Starbucks and you take that $2, $3, $4 that you were spending at Starbucks and put it away. And you'd be surprised how quickly things like that will accumulate. So just kind of revise and take a look at where you're spending your money. If you always feel like you don't have enough, it's probably because of these impulse purchases or unnecessary purchases, like going out to lunch instead of packing your lunch. And I'm not saying you don't ever do that, because that's part of fun. That's part of, taking care of yourself, but you don't have to do it every day. Worries about finances came in as the #1 stressor across all age groups. It showed that more than half of Americans lose sleep over money troubles. And high levels of financial stress manifest through physical symptoms like sleep loss, anxiety, headaches, migraines, a compromised immune system. So when your immune system is compromised, you're going to get sick. You're going to catch every cold or, disease.
Whatever's going around.
Yeah, you're going to catch it because your body is down. Heart arrhythmia, high blood pressure, muscle tension, depression, and a feeling of being overwhelmed. And it's a vicious cycle, right? Because the financial worries can cause stress and problems physically, which what does that do? It makes you go to the doctor. It makes you have to pay more money out for your own health care, which creates more of a financial burden. And so it's a vicious cycle. Keeps going. So there are some things that you can do. Draw up a budget, right? For me, that goes against everything. Like, I've done it, but I hate it. But I've done it when I've needed to do it. So draw up a budget. So, and I would say, before you even draw up a budget, track your finances. Every dime, figure out where it's going. And that will give you the information that you need to figure out what can you do without. How can you save some money? How can you eliminate some unnecessary expenses? It says avoid autopilot mode. So when you use PayPass, credit cards, PayPal, they all point to autopilot spending. And for example, don't do your grocery shopping when you're hungry, right? How many people have done that? And your cart gets a lot heavier. Avoid online browsing when you're tired and not concentrating. And I think when you have that debit card or credit card, you don't think about the physical dollars. You just go, whoosh, let me just swipe it using a credit card, and you worry about paying for it later. So don't be on autopilot mode. Do save, even when you have barely anything, you know, you're just scraping by. Find some way to save just that little bit. Maybe it's $5 a week or whatever. And then once you feel comfortable with that $5, increase it to $10. And then you can increase from there, because what happens is you end up not missing it after a while. And then you're starting to save, and your savings will grow, and you need that money for backup if something were to happen, so that you don't get all stressed out if your washing machine breaks and you need a new one. I never could find that money. It was really tough to find that extra money when I was a young mom. We only had one income for a long time, and then I went back to school. So it was really tough. It wasn't until we had two jobs that, you know, all of a sudden there was more money. I could pay off my student loans with part of it, and I could bank some of it. And I felt comfortable doing that. And then after we got it, because here's the thing, whatever amount of money you make, that's what you're going to spend. And then you think you don't have enough. You get a raise or you get more income coming in, and you tend to spend it. And then it's not enough again. So you have to set those parameters. When my daughter announced she was getting married, and we had 2 years to the wedding, I started funneling off some money to a wedding account. And by the end of the 2 years, I was able to give her a chunk of money that it didn't affect us, because it went out before I could see it, right? They took it right out of my check. And so much so that I was able to increase that amount leaving after the wedding. And I kept funneling it in there. And within a year, we were able to take a cruise that we never would have been able to afford before. So I'm fortunate and grateful that I'm in a position that, you know, we had two incomes, and we never overinvested in our house. We had a very, very modest house when we were in New York. So we weren't house poor. And so we had money to play with, but everybody can get there. You know, there's a lot of financial gurus, I think, that can help you get on the right track if you're willing to be diligent about the behavioral changes that they suggest. All right, go through this. Avoid bad debt. Credit cards, personal loans, and lines of credits are all dollar deprivers. Of course, you know, with the interest rates and things like that, you're end up paying a lot more. My mom always gave me good advice. She goes, don't put something on a credit card that you can't, you know, if you can't pay it off right away, even if you're getting a deal on it, you're going to be paying more for it in the long run because you're paying the interest. So, you know, a credit card is a good thing to establish your credit, but if you rely on it too heavily, you know, there's no telling how much that, you know, $300 on sale sofa costs you in the long run because you paid so much interest on it. So that's kind of bad debt. And then their next suggestion is to reduce that bad debt. So you may be tempted, if you have a little extra, to kind of pay down a mortgage or something like that. Well, that's good debt to have. Instead, pay off the credit cards, pay off the bad debt. They say do have investments, long-term investments. And I don't know a whole lot about those because I had like my husband has things that went into an investment account. And I didn't start that until just before I was retiring because I had to have one. And I just started getting into the stock market a little bit. I'm a novice. Have a safety net in place and ask for professional help. When we got ourselves into trouble, when I don't know, our kids were very young and I had too much credit card debt and I couldn't see a way out. We actually went to one of those credit card
consolidators,
consolidation companies, and they were able to contact all of the credit cards, and I don't know how it works, if they pay it off and then you just pay them off a certain amount, but that helped us tremendously. And that was kind of a turning point, that once we got done with that, then we were on the road to success after that. So ask for that help. It's there. I would just say, check out the companies. There's a lot of companies that are on the up and up, and then there's some that are, you got to be aware of. So, but it's always a good place to help you get started and help you get rid of that bad debt, to avoid the high blood pressure and all of that stuff that can come. So changing your behavior is not easy. Changing your mindset is even harder. But if you want that healthy relationship between your money and your health, that's what you got to do. Right?
That's right.
All right. We're on to intellectual. Sorry, I feel like we're just like talking at you today. I wish there was some feedback. I don't know if anybody's live with us right now. A couple people had checked in, but got anything to say, Mary?
About intellectual?
Oh no, about anything you
anything.
said so far, finance or whatever.
Well, I'm not the best person to ask about finance, but I'm still learning. So. But I am, I'm guilty of quite a few of those things.
And it's hard because I think you get into a rut. I know I did when I was younger and we didn't have the money coming in. I remember making Christmas gifts, craft gifts for people, just so I could give them something for Christmas because we didn't have extra money. But yeah.
And I've been a single parent for 30 some odd years, 34 years or something. So it's difficult when you only have one income.
Yes, absolutely.
I'd also say working at home with the working part, that sucked. I worked at home and I felt like I was working 24/7.
Yeah.
So that was one of the worst things I ever did. But other than that,
I know some people that are working at home now where they, they have like their study or their office area, whatever. And when they're done for the day, they just close that door and don't open it till the next time they have to like show up on their computer to do the virtual, whatever they're doing, whether it's meetings or putting the time in and the hours in for actual work. And that's how they're, a couple of them are dealing with it that way. It's, I want that door open because when I open up that door, I feel that pressure that I have to be drawn in there to sit down and work. Where if I close it and say, do not open till 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. the next day, she says, then, my kids don't go in there. No one goes in there. And it's more of like, okay, I came home from work now.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's smart. I know with
I had a wonderful job, but the management was like, get it done and get this done and get something else done. And felt like I was working forever. And I liked my job, but I did not like the people I worked for. I mean, I liked them as people. I didn't like them as managers. They pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed till I got so sick I went on disability. So it really,
wow,
didn't work.
Living, breathing what we were just talking about, right?
Right.
Yes, it was crazy. I mean, they would I was a medical coder, which basically I would read. I was an inpatient. So some of them could have 400 pages of reading. So I read, and then you had to pick out everything, that they had this, they had that, they had whatever. And it's a money thing. So they were up your butt, trying to get you because it was money, oh, you didn't find this and you didn't find that,
Well, if it's not written in the chart, right, you can't bill for it.
Well, at the point they treated you like nurses.
Yeah.
They were like, look at the x-ray, and if you see anything wrong with the x-ray, question the doctor. Look at the blood work. Why is he giving this medicine? And I'm like, I didn't go to nursing school. I don't know any of that stuff. Yeah,
I worked in the medical field too, and for the tests that we did were cardiac ultrasounds or vascular ultrasounds. If in the chart, if the diagnosis they gave us didn't correlate for that particular test, we didn't get paid, right?
Yeah.
The hospital didn't get paid. So then you have to go back in, look through their history, and if you find something in their history that may have indicated why the doctor ordered that test, but he didn't say that, then like you, we had to call the doctor and say, hey, can you give us a different diagnosis on this because your diagnosis doesn't fit with the test you ordered.
Yes, they did. And it's all Medicare covered. My end is all, Medicare. You had to do by the Medicare rules, and I didn't know the Medicare rules.
Right.
That was for someone above me, But it was like, the job was great because I loved the job. I just didn't like the pressure. Get this done, get that done, do this, do that. And it was all money. Get the money in. It was crazy.
Money moves. Money
Yeah.
makes the world go round, but not always in a good way. I feel like for me, we were talking about time and pressure, that having my own business with the essential oils and selling essential oils, when I retired, I was like, oh good, I can do essential oils full time. And I did. I'm in a kind of transition now because I'm realizing that I can't work on this all the time. I have to make, time for the fun or for the family or for whatever else it is. So I'm kind of in a transition period now, being able to kind of leave and say, okay, I'm not really working right now. I still answer texts and things like that, just even if it's to say, I'm not in the office right now, I'll get back to you in, a few hours or whatever it is. But what I love about this is that I'm working for me. And as much as I put into it, that's what I will get out of it. And I'm realizing that I don't have to work quite so hard, to beat myself up about things. But I will say that being an entrepreneur, having your own business beats working for anybody. The thing I miss sometimes is face-to-face interaction with colleagues, but hey, Kathy and I, we spend hours together on talking to each other. But for a lot of people, you have to think about the long-term health and stress of your job, your career, whatever it is that you're working on, that you end up working all of those hours every week for how many years until you're 55, 62, 65, 70 years old. My husband was like at least 70 when he retired, maybe a little bit older. And then you get to retire and enjoy life. Okay, so that is only saying that, okay, so how many more years are you going to be alive when you retire? And what health are you going to be in when you retire? And so you have to find that balance with that. Your job is not killing you. So that's what I like. I wish I had found this sooner when I was younger, that I could have built a business where I could have retired sooner and enjoyed more of life on the other side of retirement when you're healthy and still relatively young and able to travel and do the things that you want to do. So find that balance in your own work. I'm not telling people to go quit their jobs and start their own businesses, because there's enough stress with that too. But make sure you do what you love, and then make time for you. Don't wait to plan the big vacation, or I'm going to do this when I retire. Start finding ways to hit that bucket list sooner. Create that bucket list. Maybe it's a short term and a long term. This is what I can do now, and this is what I can do when I have more free time, when I'm not working. But anyway, back to intellectual. We'll wrap up with that really quickly. We're going a little long today. Poor brain health is more serious than you think. Failing brain health is a public health epidemic. The brain begins showing signs of cognitive decline as a person enters their 20s. The fact that I still have one is amazing. Okay. 3 out of 5 Americans will develop a brain disease in their lifetime. By 2030, the total cost of Alzheimer's, dementia, and stroke is expected to exceed $1 trillion.
Wow.
So healthy heart, healthy brain, healthy aging. You need to make choices today to prevent stroke and heart disease and all of that. So you need to manage your blood pressure, your blood glucose, all of the things that we talk about to make you healthy. Sleeping, stop smoking, limit your alcohol, eat better, monitor your cognitive changes. So if you notice some decline or you have a trouble remembering things or coming up with words, pay attention to that, monitor that, maybe get you some MindWise, which I'm going to go take right after this. Get physically active and socially active. People who are all alone and don't have that interaction with people, they tend to have a more prominent brain decline. Lose weight. 150 minutes of physical activity per week and a well-balanced diet can improve your memory and your ability to process information. So me, I got to lose weight and my brain will improve, I suppose. Oh, this is an interesting. 80% of strokes and heart disease may be preventable. Healthy brain diet, high in fruits, vegetables, poultry, fish, nuts, whole grains, and low-fat foods, low amounts of red meats, sweets, sugar-sweetened beverages, saturated fat, and cholesterol. We know all of this, right? We know the health benefits of a healthy diet, but it also affects your brain. And so your lifestyle really does have an effect on your brain health. Control your medical risks, hypertension, diabetes, all of those things. And mental fitness. So we talked a little, we referred to this earlier. So you have to, you lose it, you use it or lose it. So you do have to have mental exercise, right? And so like your regular muscles, if you have to exercise your brain. So doing games, crossword puzzles, all of those types of things. I think having a debate with somebody, you know, having a conversation, reading for content, for information, things that get you thinking are all going to stretch and exercise your brain. And they also say, stay connected, be socially active. Those with the most social interaction in their community experience the slowest rate of memory decline. So a lot there. Exercise your brains, people. I think Kathy and I get a lot of exercise with when we pick a topic and we spend a couple of hours, you know, I don't know, I spend probably 4 or 5 hours a week kind of going through some of this information, looking for all the data that we can share, you know, not that we definitely did not read everything that came from this, but we, you know, we processed it. So we're keeping up on our brain health.
And we talked about it. Yeah.
Bring it to you. I think the most important belief overall is that you have to believe in yourself. You have to overcome your worthiness issues and truly believe that you are worthy and deserving of huge success, whether it be mentally, physically, career-wise, whatever it is in your life. A belief in yourself is going to help you to start taking care of that self in all the many ways that we've talked about, so that you can truly love yourself.
I agree.
Sounds good.
Any parting thoughts? We have an announcement. Kathy and I just decided this like before we started. Next week is Easter weekend and people are out with family and friends and things like that. And we are going to not be present next week. So there won't be a Zoom on Saturday, but we hope that you will join us on the 10th of April. Boy, that sounds so far away now, but
I know, but
2
it's
weeks
not.
from now, where you will see not one person in this office, but 2. There will be 2 of us, because Kathy is flying down and coming out and hanging out with me for a few days before she goes on to her next adventure. So we'll only have one screen unless I give you another laptop. So we can at least kind of pretend we're talking to each other.
Well, I'll bring my laptop with me too.
So no Zoom next week, but in 2 weeks, we're going to come back and we're going to spend the next 2 weeks figuring out what we're going to talk about. Since we're done with loving yourself, it has brought up a lot of other topics that we could go for. And if you have suggestions for what you'd like to chat about and talk about, please let us know. Mary, contact us. People watching, put it in the comments. But we love your input. And we hope you'll join us in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Have a happy Easter.
Yep. Happy Easter. And hopefully I'll get to see you too, Mary, when I'm down there.
Oh, yeah, I'm not that far.
Yeah.
No,
Linda.
45 minutes now. She had to move. No, it's not that far. Not that far.
It's only 25 minutes. You're from New York. That's like nothing.
I know. I know. I've gotten lazy living here, though. You know, I want to get there fast. So, all right. Okay. Thanks for joining Saturday Zoom. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Safe travels.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.